Have you ever really stopped to think about how much power your thoughts actually have? You've probably heard the saying that your thoughts create your reality, but what does that actually look like? Well, we're going to dive into that with a simple story that reveals a pretty profound truth. Change your mind, and you can absolutely change your life. Napoleon Hill, who wrote the classic Think and Grow Rich, really hit on something timeless with this quote. It's such a simple idea, right? Your inner world literally builds your outer world. But if that's true, you kind of have to ask, exactly. If all it takes is thinking the right way, why isn't everybody living their best life? Well, the answer to that little paradox is wrapped up in a powerful story about two men at a train station, and an encounter that was about to change one of their lives forever. So picture this, a super busy railway station. And in this scene, we meet our two main characters. There's a beggar, just trying to get by day to day, and then there's this well-dressed, confident businessman. One of them is about to ask a question that's going to change everything. This really breaks down their two completely different worlds, doesn't it? On one side, the beggar is living in a world of scarcity. His whole action is about taking, and his identity is wrapped up in what he lacks. But the businessman, he lives in a world of value. His action is exchanging, built on this core belief that you give to get. And these two worlds, they're about to collide. So when the beggar asks the businessman for some money, this is what he hears back. And look, this isn't about being cruel. It's a statement of principle. A principle that just completely challenges the beggar's entire identity. I mean, this one sentence just shatters his reality and forces him to do some deep, probably pretty uncomfortable thinking. For 2 whole days, those words just rattled around in the beggar's head. He actually stopped begging. He just thought. For maybe the first time ever, he had to face this idea that his life wasn't just about taking, that maybe, just maybe, he needed to give something first. And this is where the transformation really begins. And this, right here, was the beggar's biggest hurdle. He was just trapped in this belief that he was powerless, that he had nothing of value. You can just imagine him thinking, I'm just a beggar. I have nothing. But then, while he's wrestling with this very question, he notices something. Something so simple, it changes everything. And this is where he goes from just thinking to actually doing something. First, he really ponders the question. Then, he sees an opportunity. Those wildflowers, that's the light bulb moment where he realizes he does have something to give. So he tests the idea, offering a flower for every coin, and right away, he confirms the principle. When you give value, you get more value back. He's no longer just taking, he's trading. So this new way of thinking starts to snowball, and one day, the beggar spots that very same businessman on the train. But this time, oh, it's totally different. He runs over, flowers in hand, so excited to show him what he's figured out. After the beggar offers him flowers in exchange for a few coins, the businessman just smiles and says this. Now, this isn't just a nice compliment. This is a complete reframing of the beggar's identity. It's someone on the outside confirming the huge shift that's already happened on the inside. And for our beggar, this is that final aha moment. You see, the story's totally redefining what it means to be a businessman. It's not about how much money you have or your fancy title. It's a mindset. A businessman is anyone who gets this fundamental law. You have to provide value first. The beggar realized people weren't just giving him money out of pity anymore. They were paying him for the flowers. He was in business. Just look at how fast this all happened. On day 1, his world is turned upside down. By day 3, he's already testing out a whole new way of living. And just 6 months after that, that tiny little shift in his thinking has grown into a successful flower business. It just goes to show you how quickly your life can pivot once you change your core beliefs. So the story comes full circle about 6 months down the road. The two men meet at the exact same station, but the whole vibe is completely different. The man who used to be a beggar is now well-dressed, he's confident, and he's traveling to expand his own business. They're not meeting as a taker and a giver. They're meeting as two businessmen, as equals. And this is the real punchline of the whole story. When the businessman asks him what changed, this is his answer. The big change wasn't about finding some flowers. It was about seeing himself in a new light. The potential, the value, it was always there. It was just lying dormant, waiting for a new thought to wake it up. Okay, so this is where the story stops being about them and starts being about us. It forces us to kind of look in the mirror and ask ourselves how we see our own place in the world. Because, yeah, it's a simple story, but that core principle applies to everything. our jobs, our relationships, even our own sense of self-worth. So here's the bottom line. Your life is shaped by the story you tell yourself about yourself. If you believe you have nothing to offer the world, you'll probably stay right where you are. But the moment you start to recognize the value you already have, your skills, your ideas, your kindness, your future can completely transform. Your reality is really just a reflection of your perception. So I'll leave you with this last question. Based on the story's definition, are you operating from a mindset of scarcity, always focused on what you can get? Or are you living from a mindset of value, always looking for what you can give? The answer to that question, well, that's what's going to define your future.